Hey guys, Hecons here with another World of Warcraft video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the fastest way to level in Dragonflight Prepatch. I've leveled countless level 60s using this method, so I wanted to make this video to share my tips and tricks I picked up along the way. Before we get started, I want to give a quick shout out to Koya and Holy Hellion for showing me this method. We talked about it on Discord and we've been doing a lot of testing over the weekend and leveling up our own alts. They will be making guides for stuff like this and more in Dragonflight over on their channel, so I'll link to that down below. Definitely worth the sub and worth checking out. A couple of days ago, I saw this post on Wowhead of Hardan's record run of 3 hours and 21 minutes. I shattered this 10 to 60 leveling record by around 40 minutes, managing to level from 10 to 60 in 2 hours and 48 minutes in my first attempt. In my second attempt, I cut my time by another 20 minutes, leveling from 10 to 60 in 2 hours and 22 minutes, beating his record by an hour. This method of leveling is being overlooked at the moment, but it is undoubtedly the fastest way to level on retail. I'll show you the most optimal way to level up with invasions. With a bit of min-maxing, you might even start to see 10 to 60 leveling possible in closer to 2 hours, compared to the old-fashioned way, which takes closer to 3.5 hours. First, let's take a look at each zone, as it does matter what zone you pick to level in. Portals are not equidistant, and mobs can be spread out further. The name of the game is to get as many tags on mobs as possible and be efficient in killing them. You want them closer together to limit the amount of time that you spend traveling in between the portals. As far as ad density and placement, Ungoro is by far the best to use for leveling. If that is not an option, Badlands should be your second choice, with Barrens being your last choice. I had a couple of people ask me on Twitter whether it's better to solo or group up for this, and the answer to that isn't clear. When I did my speedruns, I was focused on killing everything on one tune, while up to 4 of my ults were parked in the zone to much experience. Most people watching this probably aren't going to be running multiple accounts, so your ideal setup would be to be in a group of 5 and focus on tagging and killing mobs. If you go with this route, you need to make sure that everyone is pulling their weight, as each tag adds health to the mobs. I would advise against raid groups or anything aside from the normal party size of 5 people, as I believe the XP gains are greatly diminished, but I haven't done any testing with this. As of making this video, all of the invasions work for this method as they fix the scaling issues with elementals. The only invasion that is still bugged is the Earth one. They did fix the scaling with the elites, but when they split, the smaller parts are not scaling properly and will one-shot low-level tunes. My preference is either fire or wind, but ice should be okay now too. Earth works if you avoid the packs with the elementals that split at low levels. However, the other 3 should always have priority, as running around to avoid certain mobs and not killing them greatly reduces the XP gained. Who you have in the zone with you will greatly impact your clear times. Too many people will result in less tags since you will not be able to get to everything. If you find that there are too few people, you may have trouble killing stuff on your own if you aren't geared enough. I've been successful doing it both ways, but it is definitely preferential to have less in the zone, as a lot of the problems I've seen brought up on Twitter seem to be people not getting the tag on the smaller mobs. This is the biggest reason why so many people are unable to level up efficiently in invasions. The next trick should be your biggest takeaways from this video, as it is an easy workaround to the aforementioned problem. The first option is to have a friend or another account help your realm hop. I went with the latter option, as it's not much effort at all to roll a new tune on a dead realm and run it out to a zone. If you only have one account or that is not an option, you can join a group and see how congested that shard is. If you find that there are too few or too many people, simply drop group and find another in Group Finder. Additionally, you can play around with different phases in Chromie time, as those are separate from regular time. I haven't had to resort to this method, but it's always an option if you aren't having success in normal time. The last option is doing this with War Mode on. This would actually be the way to do the fastest 10 to 60 run, as you'd be looking at a time closer to 2 hours, as the bonus XP from having it enabled is an extra 10 or 15%. Of course, you'd run the risk of getting ganked, which is why I did War Mode off for both of my speedruns. If you can organize coordinated groups, then there is actually one other option. You would need to find a shard like the one I have here that's completely empty, that your groups can farm by themselves. You break the invasion area either in half or thirds, and each 5-man group would be responsible for clearing the portals in their area. To illustrate this, I've dropped the blue, green, and purple raid markers to show what that might look like. This not only forces a hyperspawn, enabling you to get more kills per hour, but it would also mean less travel time for your groups and an increased overall efficiency. The last tip is to make use of the XP potions, which work up to level 50. The item is the Draft of 10 Winds, which can be purchased for 5 BFA service medals each. They are bind on account, so you can buy them on the main, and mail them to the tunes that you intend to level. They grant 10% extra experience for 1 hour, and it was the biggest reason for the 20-minute decrease between my first and second attempt. This is optional, but I would highly recommend grabbing 2 for each tune that you want to level from 10 to 60, if you're looking to min-max. That's going to be it for today's video. Thank you all for watching, and as always, I would like to thank Nish, Lachlan, Augusto, and Mauro for your support over on Patreon. Happy leveling, and I'll catch you guys all in the next video. Late.